Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another journey through the annals of history. Today, we're diving into one of the most captivating civilizations the world has ever seen, the Roman Empire. A place where power was everything, and the line between glory and chaos was often blurred. From the rise of Julius Caesar to the fall of Constantinople, the Roman Empire was a realm of breathtaking ambition, shocking betrayals, and human drama that would put even the most modern soap operas to shame. But today, we're not just revisiting the familiar tales. Instead, we're uncovering some of the most forgotten, yet equally fascinating, stories that shaped the course of Roman history. The Roman Empire was born out of fire and blood, its foundation laid on the ashes of the Roman Republic. But few remember the man who truly set the stage for its rise, Lucius Cornelius Sulla. A brilliant military commander and a ruthless politician, Sulla did something no Roman had ever dared to do before he marched his army on Rome itself. In 88 BCE, he seized the city, declared himself dictator, and began a reign of terror that would become known as the Sullan proscriptions. Thousands of his enemies, real or imagined, were hunted down, their properties confiscated, and their bodies left to rot in the streets. Yet, Sulla's legacy is often overshadowed by the likes of Julius Caesar and Augustus. But without Sulla, the Roman Republic might have limped on for decades longer, and the empire as we know it might never have existed. But Sulla's story is just the beginning. The Roman Empire was built on the backs of giants, men like Augustus, who ruled with an iron fist wrapped in velvet. Augustus, the first emperor of Rome, was a master of manipulation. After the death of Julius Caesar, Augustus maneuvered his way to the top, eliminating rivals with ruthless efficiency. But what's less known about Augustus is his private life, his struggles with marital infidelity, his strained relationship with his daughter Julia, and his bizarre beliefs in omens and divine signs. Augustus believed so deeply in his divine right to rule that he even consulted an astrologer before making major decisions. And yet, despite these quirks, he managed to bring stability to Rome after decades of civil war. Augustus's reign was the golden age of the empire, but it was also a time of quiet repression, where dissent was crushed, and the Senate became a mere puppet of the emperor. Of course, not all emperors were as calculating as Augustus. Some were outright mad. Take Caligula, the emperor whose name has become synonymous with tyranny and debauchery. Caligula's reign was a whirlwind of extravagance and terror. He built a bridge of boats across the Bay of Bay just to prove he could. He declared war on the sea god Neptune, and he even considered making his horse a consul. But Caligula's story is more than just a tale of madness, it's a story of a deeply wounded soul. Caligula's early years were marked by trauma. His father died in exile, and he was raised in the shadow of his powerful uncle, Tiberius. By the time he became emperor at just 24 years old, the pressures of ruling Rome, combined with his own mental health issues, sent him spiraling into madness. And yet, amidst all the chaos, Caligula was a populist at heart. He loved the common people, and they loved him until his behavior became too erratic to ignore. His eventual assassination was as brutal as his reign, stabbed to death in a dark alley by his own bodyguards. But Caligula wasn't the only emperor with a taste for the dramatic. Nero, who ruled just a few years after Caligula, was equally infamous. Nero's reign is remembered for the Great Fire of Rome, which burned much of the city to the ground. According to legend, Nero himself started the fire, fiddling while Rome burned. But the truth is more complicated. Nero was actually in another city when the fire broke out, and he rushed back to oversee the relief efforts. Still, the rumors stuck, and Nero needed a scapegoat. That's when he turned on the Christians, blaming them for the fire and launching one of the first great persecutions of the early church. Nero's reign was a mix of artistic brilliance and descent into paranoia. He saw himself as a great poet and performer, often forcing his subjects to listen to his tedious recitals. But as his popularity waned, Nero became increasingly tyrannical. His eventual downfall came when his own generals turned against him, and he was forced to flee Rome. In the end, Nero took his own life, allegedly uttering the words, "What an artist dies in me." But perhaps the most fascinating and tragic story of the Roman Empire is that of Commodus. Commodus was the son of Marcus Aurelius, one of Rome's so-called good emperors. Marcus Aurelius was a philosopher king, known for his wisdom and justice. But his son, Commodus, was cut from a very different cloth. When Commodus inherited the throne at just 18 years old, he quickly proved himself to be a disaster. He was lazy, decadent, and fantastically vain. He saw himself as a living god, and he spent his days indulging in every imaginable pleasure. But Commodus's greatest passion was gladiatorial combat. He loved the arena, and he even participated in gladiatorial games himself, dressed as Hercules, no less. But Commodus's reign was also marked by brutality. He ordered the execution of anyone who opposed him, including members of his own family. His paranoia reached such heights that he even had his own mistress executed after she discovered his infidelity. In the end, Commodus's reign of terror came to an end when he was strangled in his bath by a conspiracy involving his closest advisors. And with his death, the Roman Empire entered a period known as the Year of the Five Emperors, a time of civil war and chaos that nearly destroyed the empire. But the Roman Empire didn't go out with a whimper. It went out with a bang for centuries, in fact. The Western Roman Empire finally fell in 476 CE, when the barbarian King Odoacer deposed the last emperor, Romulus Augustulus. But the Eastern Roman Empire, also known as the Byzantine Empire, would survive for another 1,000 years, ruling from its capital in Constantinople. And yet, even in its final days, the Byzantine Empire was a shadow of its former self. Its last emperor, Constantine Palaeologus, died fighting the Ottoman Turks on the walls of Constantinople in 1453. His final words, according to legend, were, "The city is taken, I am vanquished, let me die like a man." The Roman Empire may be gone, but its legacy lives on. From the laws we follow to the architecture of our cities, the Romans left their mark on the world. But beyond the grandeur and the glory, the Roman Empire was a story of flesh and blood, people with hopes, fears, ambitions, and flaws. And it's these human stories that remind us that, no matter how powerful we become, we're all just one wrong move away from falling. Thanks for joining me on this journey through the forgotten stories of the Roman Empire. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button, leave a comment, share it with a friend, and subscribe for more deep dives into history. And if you've got a favorite Roman emperor or story, let me know in the comments below. Until next time, history buffs, the past is waiting. Like, share, subscribe for more stories.